Hi, welcome to the final video in the Cubase Guru synthesis course. This one will be much more fun, and I say final video, there'll be several videos in this part, which is part 8. This is where I show you how to put everything together that you've just learned and make some sounds. Okay, we're going to do as many sounds as I can possibly get into a reasonably long video, and we're going to start with the usual suspects, bass. Now, a couple of things I want to say before we move on in this video. This is synthesis, which means we're going to be messing around with some crazy tones. So first of all, watch your ears, especially if you're using headphones. Please turn your volumes down if you're using headphones. The next thing I want to say is, if you're watching this on a laptop using laptop speakers or PC speakers or even cheap speakers, you may not hear all the frequencies I'm using. I am using a professional system that has been properly calibrated using sound level meters, so on and so forth. So if you're listening to this and you can't hear certain frequencies, it's not the video, it'll be your monitoring system. So if you don't have the best monitoring system in the world, get yourself a half decent set of headphones. But again, if you're using headphones, please watch the levels. I don't want you going deaf, or I don't want your ears starting to bleed, or your brains flowing out of your ears because of the sounds that we've been using. It's not going to do you any good in the future. If you can't use your ears, you're pretty, for want of a better way of putting it, screwed when it comes to making music. So please take care of your ears, and please be aware of the kind of frequencies that we're using and the kind of monitoring system that demands. Okay, now that that lecture's over, let's get on with it. Also, just before we do, these videos will be a little bit more relaxed. You can probably tell already I'm in more of a jovial mood, and the editing won't be as clean and precise as the last ones, because I want you to see any mistakes that I make when I'm making the patches, because I don't know anyone that actually writes out the settings of a patch before they start. I know what I want, so I know, for instance, that if I want the kind of bass that I'm going to want that I'm going to be making next, I need to use a saw wave, because I need the harmonics in the saw wave, and a square wave would be no good to me because it would be too hollow, and a sine wave would be even worse because there's nothing to filter out and shape the sound. So basically I know kind of what I want to start with, and then I shape around that. Also, just before we move on as well, a lot of the presets I'm going to be showing you are from the Zebra presets. So a lot of the credit, in fact most of the credit for some of the patches that I'm going to show you, go to Howard Scarr, the man that makes the presets for Zebra. Of course there is some of my own presets in here, but I thought it would be a good idea to show you some of the presets that are in Zebra so that you can kind of get them up yourself and have a listen to them, and then go off and copy them and do whatever you want. They won't sound exactly the same because I've got my own way of working, and I won't be as precise, and I'll deliberately not do everything they do just to give it my own little unique edge to it, basically to make it sound the way I want it to sound. Okay, let's get on with it. So I'm just going to load up the empty patch, and bass, we want an oscillator. Right, so there we go. A couple of things that I'm going to do immediately to the oscillator. I'm going to change it to dual because I want the amplitude to be greater, and I'm going to put it on reset or restart or whatever it is that they call this. Basically what it does is every time I hit a key, the oscillator starts at the beginning of its cycle. If that's off, it's free running pretty much. Okay, I'm also going to tune it down by an octave. 12 semitones equals 1 octave. And I'm going to check the tuning here, and I'm going to change that to -12. The reason I've done that is most people are going to load up the patch and it's going to be at C3, their middle C or C4, however they've got it set up. And if they play it like that and it's not tuned like that, it's going to sound really high and they're going to think, what's going on? So I've just done it. It's just just to cover people's laziness really. Okay, I also want to add some movement to this bass sound, so I'm going to put the phase up to about 50 and I'm going to control that with LFO1. But just a little bit. This is how it sounds with a lot. I don't want that, I want a minuscule amount, maybe 2, -2. That's enough. Okay, what else am I going to do? I'm going to come down to the mixer here and I'm going to get rid of the width, and then I'm going to come to the effects section and add the expander. What this expander does is exactly that. It expands the frequency, and with the more harmonic content you've got, the brighter it will sound. Remember on the section I done about effects, I think, no, in fact it was oscillators, I've give you a full description of what each of these do. So go back and read it and I'll tell you exactly what it does. Or you can just do what I do and just listen. Okay, that's kind of what I'm after. Okay, excellent. I'm just going to go down to this global section here because there's a couple of changes I want to make here. Now, this bass, I want the notes to be able to slide into each other. So we're going to have to pop up some of the glide, and to take full advantage of that, I'm going to put the legato on. So if I happen to play stuff like, if I play in legato mode, it will slide really well. Okay, we'll take the smooth attacks off so that the attack's as hard as possible. Being a bass, that's what we're after. And I'm just going to come here and open up envelope 1 and use envelope 1 as a volume amplitude envelope. So let's just set that up. I'll take the velocity away, get it nice and punchy, just nice and clicky, get a nice quick envelope, but we want it to have a bit of sustain and a bit of release so that the notes do carry on for some time. As you can hear, it just dies there because there's no sustain. So and a bit of release to get rid of any clicking and to prolong the note for a little bit. Okay, that sounds good to me. One other thing I'm going to do with envelope 1 is I'm going to come to the matrix and I'm going to come in here and select oscillator 1, and I'm going to select detune, and what I want to do is just use envelope 1 to detune these two, the dual waveforms, but ever so slightly. And we need to change that to envelope 1. That's too much. That's no good to me. That's too much. Okay, that sounds good to me. It's got that nice dive, which is groovy. Okay, that's sounding not too bad so far. Okay, what do I want to do next? I want to add a filter. I want to start filtering out the sounds now and starting to smooth and round the bass up a bit. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to remove the cutoff straight away and I'm going to change it to LP Vintage. LP Vintage is just a kind of warmer, rounder filter. Now, why have I removed the cutoff? Because I want to control the cutoff with an envelope, and for that I'm going to use envelope 2. I'm going to pop it up to about 3 o'clock. I'm going to bring down everything. I'll leave the velocity on this time. And let's get a nice shapely envelope. That's already sounding better. That sounds sweet. But a bit of release. Okay, let's put a little bit of resonance on it. Not too much. Yeah, nice. Okay, and we'll add some key follow so that as we go higher in pitch, the filter cutoff opens up. Okay, that's sounding quite good. Okay. It does sound a bit as if we've maybe got too much detune on it. I think we need to lower that even more. Hold down shift so I can put it to, I'm just going to set it to 1, see what that sounds like. That's better. Okay, so we're doing not too bad so far. So now we've pretty much got the basis of the sound. What I'm going to do now is just kind of mess around with some of the envelope settings and maybe some of the filter settings just to kind of tidy it up. Now this is where it comes down to personal taste. You might like it as it sounds already. I just want to mess around and see if I can kind of tidy it up a little bit. Okay, that sounds cool. So now that we've got that, let's get ready to think about what we can do further now to increase the sound, to get it more punchy, more bassy, and EQ and a compressor. That kind of pops into my mind. So let's just have a listen. Maybe if we change this a little bit, maybe a bit more sustain on this. Okay, let's go to the EQ now. So we've got our 4-band EQ. You should know how to use this. It was explained in the previous videos. So what I'm going to do is use this to boost the bass and maybe get rid of some of the high end, maybe make it a bit pluckier. I'm just going to pop this up here and make it wider. The reason I've done that is just so I can control this with this. That's quite an abrupt sound. Now I'm just going to get rid of some of that bottom end. Maybe get rid of some of that a little bit. Okay, that's not bad. Okay, let's move on to the compressor. Now I've got my own way of doing things, as you probably noticed, and whenever I use a compressor I just zero everything and then bring the threshold up. Amount of compression. And then I'll use the attack and release to kind of smooth the sound out. Obviously I'm changing the speed of the attack and release by doing this. Okay, sounds good to me. So now we've got, it's pretty much done. Now I can mess around with some of the settings just to tidy it up again, but something I've found myself messing around with settings trying to make something sound better for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours when it was already sounding good enough as it was. There is such a thing as over tweaking. You can tweak something to death and then just completely ruin it. So once you've got the sound, that sounds good to me. I'm just going to go over everything once more, really fast, change bits and bobs, have a listen, see if I can make it any better or any worse. If I make it any worse, I'm not going to make the change. Make it any better, I'll leave it. Right, so There's definitely there's a bit of phasing going on that may just be too much. With that detune as well, bring that sustain down a bit. That's better. Bring that down. Although, doesn't really make that much difference, but I prefer to have it there. Maybe a bit more release. Let's have a look at the EQ. Make that a bit wider. In fact, I'll make that a bit. Let's have a look at the compressor. Maybe. Six. Have another wee look at the EQ. So as you can see, it's just a case of messing around really and getting the sound to how you want. Okay, that sounds okay to me. Now that's not bad. How long's that taken us? 15 minutes. That's quite a nice bass sound. Now I've made a little kind of pattern up here that you can hear the bass playing, and it kind of lets you hear the slide in operation. I can show you the pattern. There we go. So we've got a nice bass note there with a couple of notes played over the top of it while it's still playing. So those notes will slide, and then the other section. So let's have a listen to that. Okay, shall I put it with some drums? Okay, check this. Okay, not bad, not bad. Something else I'm going to do, I'm just going to change that to V slope and speed the envelope up a bit. That sounds a bit better. Okay, obviously you've got to watch the volumes and stuff, but there you go. Hope you enjoyed this. See you in the next ones.